Oftentimes, death sequences in films, particularly horror films, are viewed by general audiences as nothing more than an inevitable, necessary part of the experience. Horror fans tend to look upon death sequences in horror films with enthusiasm, sometimes referring to the violence as eye candy. Such viewers are coined gore hounds and are sometimes looked down upon for taking pleasure in the violence of death sequences. I believe that both of these perspectives do a disservice to death sequences. I believe that death sequences are an art form in and of themselves and are deserving of celebration for reasons far beyond merely the violence in and of itself. The best death sequences, I argue, are ones that feel like a complete package. Of all the death sequences I have ever seen across the countless horror movies I have watched, I believe that the 1974 film Black Christmas has the ultimate death sequence, comprising everything that a kill scene should have. Put bluntly, I believe that Black Christmas contains the greatest kill in horror history. Before I talk about Black Christmas, I want to talk about what makes a good kill scene. I believe there are 5 key components to a great kill scene. 1. The death sequence is unique/creative. This is the most fundamental and easily recognizable component of a good death sequence. A good kill involves a character dying in a way that is innovative. While a death sequence in which a character gets stabbed can be great, it will be great for reasons outside of the death itself. But if a death sequence is unique and interesting, that goes a long way in aiding to the kill's memorability and fame. There are countless examples of a unique kill that I could choose from, but the best example of a truly unique death for me has to go to Freddy Krueger, given that almost every single one of his kills are unique. Rightfully so, considering that he kills people in the dream world where quite literally anything is possible. For my money, however, Freddy's best kill is not only an amazing display of a unique film death, but is the only film death that I believe even competes with Black Christmas for the best death in horror. The kill in question is Glenn's death from the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Everything about Glenn's death is unique, his body being pulled into a hole that inexplicably forms in his bed, his body being turned into nothing but blood, and this blood shooting out of the bed like an ungodly volcano. It is visually stunning, unique, and a display of the morbid genius of Wes Craven. 2. Great cinematography. Our eyes do the bulk of the judging when it comes to films, so it's only fair that the way any given scene is shot is of great importance to us. This principle applies to kill scenes as much as any other kind of scene. Despite this, we seem to all too often focus on what violence is on screen, and not focus nearly enough on how the violence on screen is being shown to us. If there is anywhere in the world that we should turn to for guidance on how to make a visually striking kill, it's the masters of horror in Italy. The ultimate example, in my view, of a kill that shows impeccable cinematography is the opening kill of Dario Argento's masterpiece, Suspiria. The film's defining, vibrant colors bathe the entire scene as we get so many striking visuals. We see the killer's knife go directly into the victim's beating heart. We are treated to intermittent shots of the dreamlike architecture of the dormitory, and in the end we are left with the iconic, haunting image of the victim's body hanging by the neck, her body covered in unrealistically bright blood. 3. Great music. The celebration of film soundtracks is nothing new. In fact, I think many would agree that some of the best movies ever made are as good as they are in large part due to their soundtracks. When it comes to kill scenes, however, music is almost never brought up. It is often the case that music is used to escalate the tension leading up to a kill, but once the kill starts, the music becomes minimal or completely non-existent. In many cases, this is an effective creative decision. Sometimes silence communicates more than any music track could. At other times, however, music serves to escalate a kill scene by escalating the terror its visuals create. A great example of the value of a soundtrack comes from Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. During what is undoubtedly the film's most infamous sequence, a young boy's head is melted and turned into bugs and snakes after he puts on a cursed mask. The music in the background of this horrifying scene is relentless and anxiety-inducing, significantly augmenting the emotions in the audience. 4. Moving the plot forward. Now we are getting into the less obvious features of a great kill scene. A kill scene can be creative, visually striking, and have great music, but all of this can be in vain if the audience becomes bitter to the kill scene due to its complete lack of impact on the story. Although this is a niche feature, this is also one of the easiest features to successfully incorporate. A kill scene can move the plot forward in a number of ways, such as empowering the killer, giving them access to an important tool or piece of information, isolating the other victims, or creating a dead body for characters to discover to kickstart them into action. The overwhelming majority of kill scenes in competently written films will, in some way, move the plot forward. Still, it is worthy of acknowledgement as it can help expand a person's appreciation for kill scenes who might otherwise look down upon them as nothing more than pointless gore. 5. Revealing something about the killer. This is the least important aspect of a kill scene, but that is what makes its presence, when it is there, so wonderful. Only the most outstanding of kill scenes will achieve it. What I would say is, or at least should be, the most iconic example of this is Bob's death from the original Halloween. Bob's death is great for many reasons, but I believe the most iconic part of Bob's death is what Michael does immediately after he impales him with a knife. As Michael watches Bob die, he tilts his head to one side, then the other, observing his body with childlike curiosity. A simple maneuver that tells the audience so much about Michael and how he views his victims, all while making us even more afraid of him. It is a masterclass of a kill scene, but neither it nor any of the other kill scenes discussed so far even compare, in my judgment, to the kill from Black Christmas. Now that I have established the criteria through which I judge kill scenes, I can now explain in detail what makes Black Christmas have the greatest kill scene in horror history. The kill scene in question takes place just over an hour into the film. The protagonist, Jess, fully aware that there is a killer on the loose, waits anxiously on the bottom floor of her sorority home. She is waiting for the killer to call the house, something he has done numerous times already, in the hopes that the police will be able to trace the call and figure out where the killer is located. Her sorority sisters, Barb and Phyllis, are both asleep upstairs. What none of the characters know, however, is that the killer is already in the house, hiding in the attic. While waiting for the phone to start ringing, a group of Christmas caroling children arrive at the doorstep and begin to sing. Jess, taking comfort in this rare moment of joy, opens the door and listens to the carolers with glee. Meanwhile, the killer enters Barb's bedroom. She is asleep and he moves quietly so as not to wake her. As he mutters a strange series of words to himself, he reaches for a weapon, a glass unicorn head. As he lifts the unicorn high above his head, the constant muttering to himself causes Barb to awaken, just as he sends the sharp glass horn of the unicorn down, impaling her over and over as the sound of the children's choir reaches a crescendo. Let's break down what makes this kill the masterpiece that it is. While some might argue that the murder method is unoriginal, given that it is just a stabbing, I argue that the fact that the stabbing is being done with the glass statue of a unicorn makes it feel completely unique to any other stabbing death in a film. While I am willing to admit that this is the one criteria out of the 5 where the kill doesn't pass with flying colors per se, I still believe that the killer's weapon of choice is extremely innovative. And I will also argue that much of what the killer does with the weapon is left to the imagination, as so little of the gore is on screen. Speaking of what the scene does and doesn't show, the cinematography of the kill is magnificent. The way that every feature of the killer is shrouded in darkness except his eye, the intermittent shots of the children singing, the shot of Barb's bloody hand slowly falling down onto the glass statues, the shot of the glass horn coming down but never directly showing the impalement. The scene is an absolute feast for the eyes, not only in terms of what it shows, but indeed in terms of what it doesn't show. The music of this kill is outstanding for so many reasons. First, the morbid juxtaposition between the beautiful choir of children and the horrific murder happening is simply chilling and unforgettable. Secondly, the music is diegetic, meaning that it exists within the film and is not only heard by the audience but the characters as well. Every time this is present in a film, I find myself in admiration of its cleverness. In the case of this scene, the diegetic music is especially clever for multiple reasons. First, it gives the audience a good reason to believe that Jess does not hear Barb's screams nor the glass breaking upstairs. All of it is drowned out by the children's choir. It also shows how clever the killer is, because he too can hear the children's choir, and he makes use of this time to kill Barb, while he knows Jess won't be able to hear it. This kill advances the plot in numerous ways. First, it serves to further isolate Jess, moving her closer to the final girl role. Secondly, Barb's body serves as a corpse to be discovered by both Phyllis and Jess. Third, and perhaps most importantly, this scene shows the audience that the killer is in some way evolving. Unlike every other kill up to this point, in which a victim has entered the killer's space and only then has he killed them, this time the killer takes matters into his own hands and moves into a victim's space in order to kill them. It puts on display that this killer is no longer going to simply hide and wait, but is instead going to actively pursue the remaining victims. Finally, this kill tells us so much about the killer while still leaving us with so many unanswered questions about him. The way he mutters to himself about a girl named Agnes, despite there being no character in the movie with this name.
Agnes, it's me, Billy. It's all right, Agnes. It's all right. Shh, pretty Agnes.
The way he seems to tell this non-existent character to be quiet and demands her to don't tell them what we did.
Just don't you tell what we did, Agnes.
Every line he speaks gives us insight into his psyche, yet we have no clear answers. But it goes even further than this. As Barb's eyes open, we hear the killer yell the name Agnes over and over, as though Barb's appearance reminds him of this mysterious person.
Agnes.
The killer's hands are extremely shaky before he impales her for the first time, suggesting that he is very anxious about what he is getting ready to do. Everything from his voice lines to his subtle behaviors in this scene help tell us a little bit more about this mysterious killer. In summary, the unicorn kill in Black Christmas puts a unique spin on a familiar method of murder by incorporating a truly distinct weapon in the form of a glass unicorn head, all the while being shot in an unforgettable and beautiful way. All of this is combined with the beautiful sound of a diegetic children's choir that is utilized so cleverly. The kill moves the plot forward and communicates so much to the audience, not only in terms of how much danger the remaining characters are in, but also in terms of telling us cryptic, incomplete information about the killer. No other kill I have ever seen in horror manages to be so terrifying yet so beautiful, so haunting yet majestic, and so informative yet so mysterious. This is what makes the unicorn kill in Black Christmas perfect. It will answer questions, create more of them, terrify you, and yet will leave you in awe of its beauty.
Ooh.